terrible, um, for the terrible voice. So I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So what can we talk about today? I don't really know what to talk about, so I'm actually eating a pancake. I started eating another pancake, but before this live stream, I just finished that one. So I hope you're all doing well. Um, so last week, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I can't remember now. I think Thursday. I went to the dentist and I was able to basically get some parts of my teeth clean and basically just get some filling, and that's it. Now, I also have a lot of sores in my mouth, and I don't really know what the reason could be. In fact, the dentist is not really sure himself. We all are just speculating what those lumps are. Because if you don't know, a couple months ago, I had a different lump in my mouth, and that was that was on my left side on the bottom row. And then from that specific lump, I remember I would keep pressing and pressing, and it got bigger. And then all of a sudden, the lump disappeared, has a new tooth grew. So that's interesting. And now I have two sores underneath my tongue, another one on my gum. I also have one under my lip, and I also have a large one on my palate. So it's kind of crazy, very crazy. I don't even know what's the cause of all of these. This entire year it's been just nothing but just sick, 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 worry, worry, worry. And I'm not even joking. Like the beginning of the year, I can remember some fragments of it, and I remember how depressed I felt. I felt so saddened. I felt gloomy. I felt as if nothing is going to work, because every time I always had a problem. First, it was the lumps in those ears. You always get lumps in your ears, but the difference with me is that some of those lumps stayed. One would kind of grow just a bit, and then you would you'd bust it, and then it would shrink just a bit, but it would not go away. I also have, I also have, one of my lymph nodes swollen, and don't know why it's not really shrinking. What else? I'm trying to remember all the problems. Also realized at the beginning of the year, I'm not sure if I realized this last year. It's been so long, so I can't remember. I've noticed on my chest a dark spot, like a very dark spot. So yeah, it's on my chest on the right side. I don't know why, you know, it can't be sunburn because I don't go outside with my chest bare. So I don't understand. I don't know what it could be. No one knows, in fact. Uh, I'm just worried about that. My stomach has always had problems since the beginning of the year. I mean, I've also had problems long ago, but these problems are a bit more ridiculous. Even my stool, I know it's gross to even mention it. I don't even want to talk about it. But since I'm sick, I wanted to talk about it. Even that too was getting discolored for some reason, like slightly black for some reason. I'm not even eating that black colored food. I don't even know what happened to my body. And this entire year, it's been nothing but problem after problem after problem. And it's not like the previous years. The years prior were simple. No, I remember in 2021, um, it was April, I think. And then I just got sick. I got so sick. I was so sick. I remember just middle of the night sweating, and then had fevers. I remember had like migraines a bunch of times. I had to do a COVID test, and it was negative. So, you know, honestly, like I was really sick, and that was it. I time to time got sick with a mild sickness or cough or flu, but nothing was over the top like this. And this is the problem. This is the big problem because I just feel so down, you know? This entire year was just pointless. It felt for me There were ups to this year, but there were plenty of downs, and that's the worst part. My best advice to anyone watching, I don't even think this video will get a lot of views because live streams don't get a lot of views. But my best piece of advice is don't wait for yourself to get sick just to start taking care of yourself. Don't do that. Start taking care of yourself way before you're sick. Before you're sick, start taking care of yourself. Don't wait for that last panic just for you to start doing stuff because it does happen for many people, but that's the problem. It should not happen. Many people should, well, almost every no every single person should at least be more healthy before they get sick, because if you wait to get sick, then that's a problem. And that's the thing. It's the sickness that scares us to do better. But if we were better from the beginning, we won't even have these sicknesses. We would be so much better. I wouldn't be so depressed this year if it weren't for this, one for all these problems. I don't even know what caused these problems. When I was a kid, I never took care of my teeth. Even when I was a teenager, I did not respect my mouth. And obviously, that's going to cause a lot of problems. So, this is why you at least take care of yourself and do it when you're young. I know a lot of people think when you're young, you can do whatever and it doesn't happen, like nothing happens. No, 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 no. No. Start taking care of yourself when you're young. If you have children, raise them to be very, very healthy, because if you just raise them to be the opposite of healthy, they are going to have a very, very problematic life. Anytime they would want to do some things, a sickness would come up and stop them from doing anything. So trust me, plan ahead of time. Not everything you can foresee, but you can at least prepare. You can at least prepare for your journey down the road. Preparation is key. I know a lot of people will not like that, but no, you have to prepare. Sometimes you just got to be prepared for anything. This is why people take insurance, because they want to be prepared for what's to come. And there's nothing wrong with being worried about the future, scared about the future. So it's best to at least be healthy when you're young, and then um, then you won't have to worry, because all of your young problems come back to haunt you. When I was a kid, I remember I hated sitting down with my back pressed upon the backrest of chairs. I really hated that. In school, okay, you need to understand, in school, the way our desks were arranged, sometimes you'll have like two desks or three desks put together in one row. You have like three, you have like, no, let me restart that. You have three or four rows, and each row you have different sets of desks. And sometimes you'll have two sets of desks put together, or three, whatever it is. It's a big problem, because because well, for me it was, because I always hated that, because then if you're sitting right at the edge and you have other people sitting more inward, you can't really rest your back properly. You can't just put your back properly and rest. You can't do that. You know why? Because guess what? People will have to come past over and over. So I got so used to not really sitting properly because of stuff like that. Because I knew people would always want to move across, and it really annoyed me. It really did. I'm very skinny, but even that too, it really annoyed me, because people just have to push through, and I don't want to be rude. No one wants to be rude, don't they? So of course, I did not, I did not get so used to it. And when I was small, I even knew this was going to haunt me. And now I can't even sit properly. It hurts my back so much. I try to sit properly on my terrible chair, but it does not work. And a lot of the problems is because of me constantly ignoring my body. So, am I making sense? Am I making sense? I cut down a lot of sugar this year. In fact, I've cut down so much sugar this year. I barely have it unless it's in my tea or the pancake I'm eating in right now. Normally, I won't have a lot of sugar. I've been avoiding so many sweet items, and I feel like I should have done this when I was younger. At least then, I would have built up some resistance to having sensitive teeth, and I would have enjoyed at least today having more sweet stuff. Anyways, what can we talk about? There's so many topics, so many conversations happening. Um, what else can I talk about? I'm trying to think. There's just so much. I don't want to continuously rant over and over again, but anyways, let's talk about the positives and negatives of modern day gaming. So the positives and negatives of gaming. This is supposed to be a video, but I remember trying to make this video last time and I ended up not even creating it. Kind of crazy. So here are my positives and negatives of modern day gaming. Let's start with the negatives. One of the big negatives is, of course, esports. I know esports, a lot of people love esports. So many people love esports. It's not bad to compete against other people, but now games are being bespoken just for esports. So now everything has to rely on esports. Nothing can just be something fun. Everything has to be esports. And there's nothing wrong with being competitive in a video game. There is nothing wrong. The problem is that's now going to be the only thing catered towards. So the companies will just start making games for over, um, well, see, this is not a scripted video. That's why I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. So to continue what I was saying, they're just going to make for a lot of these esport pros and stuff like that. It's not going to be for everyone. And as I said, I'll repeat myself again, there's nothing wrong with being competitive. The problem is that that's the only thing now that game companies can only do is just make competitive games. It really sucks. And speaking of esports, games are also not going to be more attractive because of esports. Have you heard of the 2D fighting game Skullgirls? This game was basically censored a couple months ago, and a lot of people were speaking about this. A lot of people were ranting about this because the entire point of the game was to be a lewd game, a lewd fighting game. That's the entire shtick of the game. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's the shtick, that's the theme of the game. So they censored it, and one of the reasons why people pointed out they censored it was because of Evo, this esports company, and they wanted to make this part of esports. And here's the thing, there are so many fighting games out there. Please understand, there are like a bajillion fighting games out there. And everyone has their favorites, everyone has their least favorites. It's up to the person. But the point is, why choose this game for esports when there's so many other games out there? So that game was censored, and you can tell that things are going to be much more mild because of esports. Things cannot necessarily be fun anymore. Moving on, uh, the next thing is of course the constant concepts of trying to make console and PC games like mobile games. If you ever played a mobile game, you would know the amount of in-game purchases, the amount of um, real money you have to use just to win a game, pay to win, basically. A lot of games have become like that, especially on console. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak have so many DLCs, so many of it, so many of it. And the thing is that all of those stuff could have been in the game, but I feel like they were bespoke just to be just to be part of DLC. But if they were in the game, it would be fun because that would be amazing. It gives more reason for people to continue playing. And the thing is that years ago, with Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, I defended the um, their online shop. I defended that so much, and now I regret that. It's one of those things where people can regret. I defended it, and now it's to a point where so many layered armor is now for sale with real money. That doesn't make sense, and now a lot of people will defend it. A lot of people will say they need it's they will need it. They'll say it's for Capcom. Look, Capcom already made their money. Most of this stuff goes towards the investors. Most of this stuff goes towards the investors. So having a lot of these in-game purchases, it's not going to help the creators. If this was like an indie company, you can make some excuse. Anyways, sorry about this if I have so many cuts in my mouth or in my voice because I'm always like this. When I was a kid, I used to always cut towards the end of the sentence. No, 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 no. Cut before the end of the sentence. You know why? Because there were times where I just felt like I don't even need to finish my sentence. The next problem I have with video games is the wokeness. And I know a lot of y'all will know about this. I don't have to go on and on about wokeness. But the fact that a lot of companies, even Japanese companies, are even bowing down to wokeness, it's terrifying. There's no escape from that. Moving on, let's talk about the positives of gaming. So, the positives of gaming is that a lot of people can create so much friendship from gaming. They can play online, meet a bunch of people, speak, get to know one another. It's such an awesome moment. The next thing is, of course, creating content. Because of modern day gaming, people have made their entire um, their entire life based on gaming, just from recording videos or streaming. All of this now is very important to their lives. For them to make money, for them to pay the bills, these things are important. And it basically works in a cycle. You know, the gamers play it on YouTube and Twitch, play these games, and from there, a lot of new people will watch that and get the game. You understand how it works? It's like a cycle. It's like a very important cycle. I like it. So there are positives to gaming. Very much really good positives out there. And I wish there were more positives. I really wish there were more positives. But it's just one of those things where I can't even find a lot of positives because there's just so many negatives. The negatives outshine the positives. Speaking of one positive, I would say that some indie games are really good because obviously obviously a lot of people don't like the way modern AAA games are going, so indie games kind of be the opposite. Indie games are like the water to fire, the opposite element most of the time, and they do really well with um, with having cult followings. They do really well with actually taking care of their products, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. So to wrap that rant off, there are more negatives in gaming than positives. Okay, so what else can I talk about? What even is the time? Yeah, it's just going to be a very boring video. I really wish this was a scripted video. So I think that's all I could actually talk about now. This has been a very interesting video of me getting angry about not taking care of myself. So yeah, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful time. Bye.